you guys are here, you're working different types of buyers. I wanted to talk a little bit about first-time home buyers. One piece of advice, what would it be? Welcome, everyone, to the Casandra Properties podcast. We're having a boatload of fun here, folks. It's really been a great experience. We're getting great feedback, so please keep it coming. Today, we are joined by three rock stars in their own development and in their own way. A very diverse group. These are some of the agents over here, my family at Casandra Properties. They all came on in a different way and in a very different time. We're joined by Celia Iervasi. We are joined by Frank and Ariana DiMattina. How we doing, guys?
Great.
Good.
Good to see everybody. Great. Yeah, are we nervous?
A little.
A little? That's all right. We're going to rip right
really.
through this. Yeah, Frankie's got it.
Frankie's
Frankie doesn't rattle.
He loves this.
He's ready to roll.
It's right
So
up.
we're going to talk about a couple of things today, right? We want to, as we always do, talk about the history and how, we all became who we are. And then we want to talk a little bit about market stats and where we think this thing is headed. I know we're all kind of coroned out, but it's important that we continue to talk about it because being on the inside, we take for granted, the knowledge that we've developed over the years, and it's important for the consumer to hear it. So I wanted to start with Ariana and Frankie. Give us some background. Where did you guys grow up? Are you originally from Staten Island?
Yes, we're originally from Staten Island. Our parents are from Brooklyn, Bensonhurst and Dykers.
Benson and Dyka.
Yes.
All right. So you were both born here.
Yes, we're both born here. Born and raised.
And you guys, as kids, any sports in the family? Did you guys play sports?
Frankie.
Yes, I was a big sports guy. I played everything. Mostly football and basketball, but me and my friends, we played everything.
Did you play organized or just like street ball? Or?
Yes. We played organized. We played on the street, the parking lot, anywhere.
Really athletic.
Anywhere. We were never in the house growing up. We were always outside playing sports.
So it's interesting how that's changed over the years, and you guys are a lot younger than I am, but it was, when I was a kid, it was the same thing. You came home, you drop your book bag, right, and that was it, Seal. We were out, and we were playing all hours of the night, and today you don't get that.
No.
Today it's
a lot of technology today.
Tech and scheduled play dates.
Yeah,
Yep.
you see little kids with iPads, iPhones.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They're addicted to it, yeah.
It's crazy. My son is, how old is he, 12 now? I think he's 12 years old now, and he's coding and he's doing all sorts of stuff that
Online.
it's good, right? I guess it's good, but it's just a different world.
It for sure is a different world. Growing up, again, we stayed outside until 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock a.m. playing Manhunt.
Manhunt, oh my God. Wow, you're taking me back.
Way back.
Good times, man.
Definitely.
So, Ariana, how about you? Were you into sports or dance, or what did you do?
I did dance for years, and when I went to high school, I cheered.
You cheered.
Yeah.
And this was something, was it like a passion for you, or was it just something that you kind of did? And
Dance was for, a few years, but I guess I grew out of it, We're more like the working type and whatnot.
yeah, as we get older, these things have a way of
They drift.
getting away from us.
Yeah.
What about influences as kids? Like, who were your inspirations?
More like inspiration, like always, I guess my dad, because he, works so hard
That's
and
a
whatnot.
great
Yeah.
That's my answer. Yeah, I would.
Not think
I
of
would-
someone else.
Yeah, I would definitely say my dad or maybe somebody in the sports industry, but mostly my dad, because he definitely taught. And I can't forget my mom too. My mom too.
I was waiting.
Mama's boy.
Yeah, they definitely taught us how to work hard. This is why we are here today, because they taught us to work hard and
Never
just
give up.
just stay in the grind.
So I was going to get to this a little bit later, but there's a pretty famous business in the family, right?
Yes.
Let's talk a little about it.
Yes. So Ariana's catering hall.
Where'd that name come from, Ariana?
Firstborn.
Yeah, so my parents been in the business for over 20 years. We started off in Newdorp Lane.
Mm-hmm.
My dad his family was in the food business. Mark Frank's in Wall Street. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his family owned that. So he was always into the food industry. And once they came to Staten Island, he and my mom eventually opened up a catering hall in New York Lane, and now today they are in the South Shore of Staten Island, 60 Southbridge Street, and I don't know the other address.
4264 Arthur Kill Road
Yeah, so we
at
have
Ariana's Law.
two in Staten Island and one in Woodbridge, New Jersey.
So the work ethic's been in the family, and it's clear. I have to say,
Absolutely.
Celia had introduced me to the dynamic duo originally, and I was taken aback by I was a little inspired, actually, to see both of you. First of all, the sibling thing. Did you always get along? Was that
Not really. A little bit.
Well, he
We
was
had-
always more into sports and whatnot. And
Yeah, and I'm the only boy in the house besides my dad. Even our dogs are girls.
the girls take over in my
so
family.
they always did their own thing. I did my thing with my friends, sports, all of that, and yeah. I mean, but we have our days. We get along, especially now. you
There's a
know.
bond that's very clear.
100%.
I mean, when I sat with the two of you, it was very genuine, very
Mm-hmm.
unique, and it was what had really drawn me to the two of you. You could see the family theme was really prevalent in the discussion,
Definitely.
just like it rang through now to hear that your dad was and your mom, your greatest influences and inspirations as kids. You
yeah.
don't hear that very
Not
often,
often.
believe it or not.
Not often, but we try to keep it, together and tight.
That's great. That's really great. So, as you guys got into the business, was there ever a point when you felt discouraged, or you kind of felt like maybe this isn't for me, or did it click right away? Let's talk through that a little bit.
You could answer that, Ariana. You could go first.
Well, a lot of times, you get that feeling as a realtor, especially young, that, it may not be for you. And, deals fall apart.
Yep.
And, a lot of people, in the business, they may not be, loyal or whatnot. But I feel like you just have to really, look past that.
Yep.
And see the other, great experiences that there are in real estate and all the amazing people that they are, and look past, other people. Because in work, there's, good times and in bad times. So nothing's going to be a perfect job, but it doesn't feel like work to me. So that's why I, stuck with it, and I'm going to continue to.
Yeah, for sure.
So people say, there's the expression, if you love what you do, at work, you don't work a day in your life. And you had said that to me recently, and it stuck with me because it's so true.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a passion and a fire for what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. And of course, there's those challenges where, people don't understand how difficult this business can be.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of energy and effort that a good agent puts into every buyer and every seller and every tenant,
Start to finish, definitely.
it's enormous.
Yeah.
It's an enormous amount of energy, and the phones ring constantly. Thank God we've been blessed in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And you're constantly, trying to provide that same level of service to every client. And it's hard. It's disappointing, and you have those moments where you're like, I put everything into this client.
Mm-hmm.
I did everything the right way. I busted my hump for them, and there wasn't that sense of loyalty. But it's in those times that we get measured, right? It's how you handle that next call, that next client, that next prospect that really defines you.
I think a lot of real estate clients are a little bit, past just clients, and they become, a friendship. And after, finding them their first home or whatnot, they're having children, they're,
Yep.
newly married, and sending them gifts and keeping in touch. I think social media is really big also, always commenting on their posts and checking in with them from time to time, so they don't forget you, and they don't,
Relationships
Yeah,
over
are key.
transactions.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
So I didn't give credit to that when I first started deploying my social media strategy. And we had J-Man on not too long ago. And, part of my frustration was I'm giving some really good advice. Like, I've predicted some cycles in the markets, and I've been spot on with a lot of things that have happened. And they don't get the traction that you would think that they would, right? Like, hey, these are mega investments. This is really important stuff. And J-Man had conveyed to me, all the advice in the world means nothing if they can't identify with who you are as a person.
Right, right.
I agree.
So taking the time on social media to connect, right? That's been one of my shortfalls is I have not connected the way that I should have. It's been business, 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 business.
Yeah.
And that's been a major hole in my game from day one, and something that I'm working very hard on. And in fact, because of a conversation we had a few days ago, I kind of peeled it back a little bit, and I spoke to my business coach. I always have to give him a shout out, Chad Reyes over at Lions Pride, because he's done wonders for me and for the company. And he had explained to me that you're not connecting the way you need to connect. So you have these people that are working with you, and it's not enough to be at the head of the ship. You have to slow it down. You have to get more engaged. So we're doing the book club here. We're going to do the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. But also, after 22 years in the business, I am taking the time to write down a really advanced curriculum. And we're going to deploy a course here at Casandra Properties that I'm going to personally do with every agent. We're going to do breakout sessions. We're going to do one-on-one. And I'm going to take the 20-some-odd years of knowledge that I've had kind of rattling around in my head, and I haven't slowed it down the way I should. So in large part, because of that conversation and because of your candor at your behest, Celia, I am going to deploy that in the company. So I'm super excited for it. I'm super excited to slow it down and to work with you guys one-on-one and the rest of the team. And in the vein of connecting, thank you.
Thank you, and thanks, Cecilia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Celia's been a great mentor too.
Yeah, we're going to get to Celia in a minute. Me and Celia
Celia's
have a
great.
little bit of a history, us two.
One thing I am going to say, when it gets tough, always take the high road.
Yeah.
Like I had a situation where I could have gone another way, but I did take the high road. And when you do take the high road in this business, believe me, it just comes back tenfold.
It does. It does. And it's hard to do because, again,
It's
you
hard.
you're working so hard, and you feel like there's this personal stake, because there is, and when things break the wrong way, it's tough. Sometimes it's tough. So you guys are here, you're working different types of buyers. I wanted to talk a little bit about first-time home buyers. One piece of advice, what would it be?
One piece of advice.
One
I would
piece.
say is take your time. You don't have to, and the first property you see, you don't have to, I mean, you could offer on it if you like it that much, but take your time. You know, it's a process. It's going to be like the biggest situation, purchase in your life, you know, a home. So
I
would
love
say
it.
Take your time.
Yeah, definitely. I had a recent client who was a family friend of mine, and he was a young guy, and he purchased his first home, and I made sure that his bills were going to be
Right.
what he
He looked at a lot of houses too.
Yeah.
A lot. Until he found the right one. It's a beautiful home, South Shore, Woodrow. Beautiful home.
gorgeous house, yeah, and it's he wanted to be in that price range, and it makes sense for him, the two family, the income, that's half of his mortgage. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, and he had a great rate too. I think it was like a 2.8. I think.
Unbelievable, the rates.
He
Really
got
low
a great
interest
rate
rates.
too. So, and he took his time. He found the right home. Great
He's
rate.
super happy.
Yeah.
So that's a testament to both of your work ethics and your quality as human beings. You don't often hear realtors tell people to take your time and to
Yeah.
slow it down.
Yeah.
And
Because everyone just wants to close that deal, but you have to make sure that your client's happy and you're making them happy.
that's great. That's really sound
amazing.
advice,
Yeah.
folks. Slow it down. All right,
Amazing.
Seal. You're up, kiddo. You got to turn and face me.
Okay.
So let's talk about your background. You're original Brooklynite, yes?
Yes.
So whereabouts in Brooklyn?
Borough Park, Bensonhurst, Dyker Heights.
Another Bensonhurst. I'm surrounded over here. I'm the only native islander.
Brooklyn
Yes.
girl.
Brooklyn's in the house. So how about as you grew up, any early childhood inspirations? It's a tough one.
You know about my childhood.
I do. And you've come such a long way,
Yes.
and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You really have been an inspiration for me
And you for me.
And I'm going to try not to get emotional. But Celia has played a huge role in my personal development.
Wow.
And I'm very appreciative of that. So, first-time home buyers, for you, what's your advice?
My advice is take your time. I tell them this is going to be the biggest investment of your life.
Yep.
It's usually a 5-year plan. Take your time. Be cautious. Look, you have to pick and choose your priorities.
Yep.
Because you're not going to have everything on the first house that you want. So you have to pick what's more important to you. Price point,
Yep.
because at the end of the month comes very fast. Don't jump for something that's more that you can't afford.
Yep.
Be able to afford it. You have a family. If you don't have a family, the end of the month comes very fast. And I tell them to take their time. Look at what they're buying. I don't push them into anything. And that's what gains your trust. And these people, these clients become your friends.
Yep.
And it's a referral business. If you do the right thing, it always comes back to you. And that's what it's all about, doing the right thing. And always taking the high road, as I said.
So, it's really sound advice, and if you break it down, so few people do this. As a first-time home buyer, there's this unbelievable excitement. It's a new chapter in their life. And you're right, they want everything, right? I want a pool, I want to be close to a certain school, I want to have a full brick front, or I want to have, updated kitchens, updated bathrooms, I want to have a finished basement, I want to have a 2-car garage, I want. And take the time to slow it down. Something I used to do is actually ask them to write down like the top 10 and then give me only 3. What are the 3 must-haves for you?
That's great.
And after we checked off the must-haves, then let's go to the second bucket. What's the next 3 or 4 wants? And then after that, the balance of the 10, what are the kind of lofty goals that if we can get the top 3 and we can get 1 or 2 out of the next 3 or 4 and we can grab one of those kind of unicorn ideas out there, you usually can land and like you said, keep it within the price point.
Yeah. And
Right?
X questions.
Very important.
Yeah.
X questions.
Ask
too.
questions, absolutely. So rates today are so historically low, as you had noted before, Frankie. It's really important that, I believe it's important, that you stay away from, if you can, the adjustables in this market. People get very hung up on what that extra eighth or what that extra quarter means. But historically, when I first got in the business, my first deal, I believe we locked the buyer in at 11.75%. And that was a good rate at the time.
I remember 18.
18,
I
that
remember
predates
that.
me. So when you're looking at interest rates today, if you're a first-time home buyer out there, or you're just any buyer out there, remember the context of the moment that we're in. It's not always going to be.
My client took advantage of it. He got a great rate. He got a 2.75.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many years?
2.75.
How many years?
30.
30-year fixed?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And we looked at a lot of homes, and once they found this one, they were so happy. They were so happy. They were like almost crying how
Yep.
happy they were, and they got a great rate. They took advantage of it. And a mortgage lender that me and Ariana work with, he gave them a great rate. Yeah.
So when
Took advantage of
when they're shopping today and they're looking at the rates, and there's the lure of cutting the fixed period down to a 7 or a 10 or whatever it may be, to grab that extra eighth or that extra quarter, just remember, folks, that rates are not always going to be where they are today, and to be able to lock in, whether it be at 2.75 or 3 or 3 1/4 or 2, wherever it is, historically, you have to take a look at that context. Markets go up and they go down, right? Inventory goes up and it goes down, and rates go up and go down. We've been through quite a long period now because of some of the things that have happened in the local economy and things that have happened nationally. But we're not always going to be here. And the last thing you want to do is wake up 7 to 10 years from now, you're in the home that you love, everything's going great, the kids are getting older, they're headed to college, and your rate's jumping significant tranche because you tried to grab that extra eighth or quarter up front now. So just something as a first-time home buyer in particular, but any buyer out there to keep in mind. So, Celia, back over to you. How did you become a realtor? Like, what brought you into this field? You've had an unbelievable measure of success, and we'll talk about some of the awards that you've received over the years. But What was it that brought you into the realtor world?
The realtor world. Believe it or not, I was a hairdresser.
Uh-huh.
I became friends with someone financially. There was a house for sale on my block when I was living on 76th Street.
Okay.
And it was another realtor that owned the mortgage. He was a broker. And I just connected with him, and I said, oh, my God, this is for me.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. And I just gravitated to it. And it became like
Your passion.
yeah, it was my passion. I believe in it. And I just went head first into it.
So was it like the connection with working with people? Was that the draw for you? Was
People.
it the people?
It was people.
Yeah.
It was people, it was the passion, and you do make people's dreams come true, especially when you get the excitement that it's their first home buyer or people that are in trouble, and you help them and you gravitate them through serious and deals.
Yep.
And get them to move on into something else.
Yep.
The separations, everything that happens, it's all about people and skills.
So this is for everybody. Do you think anyone can be a real estate agent or a broker, or do you think there are certain traits that you have to be born with to excel in this business?
I think that, you can get them over time, the traits. You may not be like born into real estate. It may be a job where you've had other, previous jobs and you realize that it's for you. But I think that it takes a tough individual to fight through like the obstacles in real estate. You need to,
Personality too.
Personality. You need to be, very communication skills and whatnot.
Yep.
Follow up.
You need tough skin. It's not for
Tough
everyone.
skin. Very tough skin.
Very tough skin, because you have to get through a lot of disappointment and a lot of issues and a lot of situations that happen. But you go with it, you glide with it, and you try to make the best outcome for everybody.
Yep.
And do the right thing. It's
Tenacity. You need
do
to
the right thing.
keep on hammering away, and you have to be able to put that head down at night and know that you did the right thing. And
there's always another client ready to,
Yep.
really, really,
You're always one deal away.
yeah,
That's how you have to look
be
at
grateful for you.
It's like a domino
Yeah,
effect.
exactly.
Exactly, a domino effect.
And you always have to be in competition with yourself.
that's great right there. That's great.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why she's Ariana.
Absolutely. I got a call.
I'm my worst critic.
No, you're not. You're great.
Going back maybe 15 years or 17 years, I was doing primarily home sales with a little bit of commercial leasing and a little bit of commercial brokerage. I had just started to dabble in land, and I was kind of following back then Tom Myra's lead, and he used to fax out the sheets, right? So we started to, with great interest, follow how he had handled it, and we had started going, and we would drive around in the, literally 10, 11 o'clock at night when things quieted down, and we would go and drive and look for houses that had big lots. And we would, back then, you had to write the address down, and then the next day you had to go back to the office, you had to take out the microfilm, you had to literally find a slide, and then you had to put it on this glass, turn the lamp on, the glass would project. Yeah, it would project the
I think your
plot.
mom told us that one time.
Yep. And then I would sketch it out in pencil. And then I would send a letter and say, hey, I'm working with developers, and they were interested in this neighborhood. When I was canvassing, this piece became one of interest. Would you be interested in selling? So long story short, I had listed the piece, and it was a Friday afternoon. It was like 5, 6 o'clock. I got a call, and it was some gentleman had called and said he wanted to see. It was a townhouse. Back then it was on Sharrett's Road, and it was listed for $299. So we're going back a ways. And it was Friday. It was after a long day. It was toward the night. And I'm thinking Friday night traffic going out to the South Shore. I was like, ugh, I don't want to do this. And I'm telling the story because you had said you're always one deal away. You're always one call away. So I said, all right, whatever. I'll go. I went out. I met this gentleman. And he was with a young lady. And they took a look at the house. And they said, this is a nice house. We'll put in a full price offer, all cash. I said, oh, okay. So he said, how did you find this land? I said, well, we go out and we canvass and whatever else. He said, back then I didn't even know what it was. He said, I have an exchange coming up, and I have to spend $12 million or $14 million in the next 30 days. So I thought, this clown, right? He's giving me an all-cash offer on this house. And he was in ripped jeans, T-shirt. Another thing, never judge a book by its cover. So he had said, if you have any deals that you could put together, I'm ready to go. So I said, sure. I went, I did a little homework, sourced a piece, sent it to him. It was for 86 houses on Moselle Avenue. He closed in 22 days cash.
Wow.
We got all those listings back, and that's kind of what launched me into that side of the business. So in the vein of there's always another client and that phone is going to ring, you never know
Never know.
who's on the other side of that phone, folks.
Yep.
Every call matters, right? And I don't advocate this next little snippet here. To this extent, it's to each his own, but I used to work on holidays all the time because I would actually go in and physically answer the phone. It was none of this, it would forward and you'd get people and it was beepers and that was the end of it. I got a call on Easter Sunday. It was about 2:30 in the afternoon.
Dinner time.
My mother was flipping a lid, right, that I wasn't home. And I took the call, and I had a new construction home up in Toad Hill. It was $1.1 million or $1.2 million. He wanted to see it that day. So I ran out on Easter Sunday in the late afternoon, and he bought it.
See, it was worth your while.
Right? So you sometimes get folks when you would least expect it. And my thought process was, if this dude wants to go look at a property on Easter Sunday at
Has to be
4 in the
serious.
afternoon, it's got to be legit,
And
right?
he's serious, yeah.
And he was serious. Turned out to be a doctor, and he bought the house. So anyway, just a little bit of tidbit and
Those are great
insight
stories.
of things that I've experienced over the years. Celia, I do want to talk about two things in particular with you.
Okay.
Number one is your commitment to the community.
Okay.
You have you have maybe the best resume I've ever seen when it comes to community commitment. You are on every board. You are at every event. You raise money for, so many different wonderful charities. Just talk a little bit about how you became so passionate about community awareness and fundraising and how, you were pulled onto all these boards and how important it is to you.
Again, it goes back to when I was very young. Mary Santone became my mentor. She was part of the Congress of Italian American Organization. She was very political. She became my mentor, and she was director of a nonprofit, and she taught me and she guided me. And her guidance is what pulled me into all of that, because I was fortunate, because as we know, my childhood left a lot to be desired, and I didn't allow my childhood to repeat. So what I did is I took that experience of my childhood and I moved forward with it. And I believe that you have to give back. I was fortunate that I was given I got married, I have God bless, 3 children, I have 6 grandchildren now.
Beautiful.
God bless, I'm here. You believe in my beliefs, you support me. I just believe you have to give back. And when you give back, it's just karma. It's all about it. I
Good
live in
karma.
my community. I want my community to thrive. I'm very involved in addiction. I'm very involved now in the Verrazano. I'm president of the Verrazano Kiwanis. We're going to be raising a lot of money for Northwell Hospital.
God bless.
I was the chairperson for the YMCA Counseling Center for 3 years. I'm on that board about 10 years. I'm on Community Board 3, Land Use. There's quite a few things I'm on. It's not that. It's all about my belief in giving back. I'm blessed that my family allows me to do this.
Yep.
My husband, my daughter, I never have to come home, always cooks, whatever.
You need a support structure.
I do have a strong support structure, and that's what that made me go to the next level.
Yep.
Because my life could have been a lot different.
Yep.
Because I've seen a lot of people, what have happened to them, and I see it now to this day, and again, I'm very fortunate.
Amen.
I'm blessed, thank you.
I love it. And I love you
truth.
for it.
Good story.
And I love you for supporting me on all my beliefs.
That's the easy part, Seal. You do the hard part, and we're all appreciative for it because you have had a really profound impact on your community.
Okay. You're making me
I know. I'm such a baby.
Thank you.
All right. So awards.
Oh.
Hall of Fame, Realtor of the Year. What is it that sets you apart? That there's literally a handful out of the thousands of agents on Staten Island. There's literally a handful that are in the Hall of Fame. There's literally a handful that have, I don't even know if there's any that are in the Hall of Fame and had Realtor of the Year. What sets you apart? What has made you just such an unbelievable agent?
I always try to do the right thing. I've been hurt by other realtors. It's just the name of the business. Realtors, real estate is not such a great, how do I say it? You could take the realtors, there's the stand-up ones, and then there's others.
Like in any business.
Like in anything. Maybe I'm not saying the right thing, but the bottom line at the end of the day is I just try to do the right thing. That's all what it's about.
And it comes back.
Yes, I believe it comes back.
Yep. Without a doubt. It does look, it's past belief. We've seen it, right? What do we
Yeah.
say? No,
Yes, we have.
your
Karma.
worth.
It's all about karma. Yes,
Amen.
James, know my worth.
Know your worth.
Yes.
All
It
right.
took me a long time to know my worth, but I do know my worth now. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
It's
Is that bad?
no,
it's great.
It's wonderful, and it's you had said earlier you're your biggest critic, right? So the hardest person to face in the world is you. When you're alone and you look in that mirror, some people would say God, but in the actual touch and feel world, it's you. When you're there and you're alone with your thoughts and you're looking in that mirror, it's hard. And sometimes we set standards that are so ridiculous that we contribute, unfortunately, to knocking ourselves down,
All the time.
right? And it's a balance between that and trying to make yourself better, right? It's a fine line. Yeah, it's a scary world, Frankie. You're gonna, as you come in, you're gonna see over the years, it gets tough, baby. He's looking at us like, oh boy, it doesn't get too much easier.
But it tests you. When
It
you
does.
get hit hard, you get back up. And you keep going.
That's it.
Look at me at this age.
I love
I'm
it.
my worst critic, but I try every day, and I try every day to strive to do better. A lot of people don't like it because they don't like the Celia, that Celia's going like,
The Celia you've become.
yeah, they don't like it. And you know what? You're not a friend of mine then, right?
That's right.
They should always support you.
That's right.
And if they don't, they're not for you.
That's right.
Very well spoken.
So, all right, because I'm going to become very, very emotional here in a minute if we don't switch topics.
Why?
You know how I am.
She asked how I met her.
For how everybody thinks that they know me, that's not who I am, right? So
No.
I wanted to talk about technology a little bit. So we grew up in a very different world. For me and Celia, as I had just said, we would go back on the microfilm and you're looking up on the thing and you're sketching it out.
Copies.
Beepers were the big deal. It was if you were rocking the Motorola, you were a player in the real estate game back when I was, Frank's laughing, right? Back when I was really getting my feet under me. You guys grew up with it. So for you guys, it's been it's been a profoundly different adaptation rate. For us, it seems like every time you kind of get your feet under you and you feel like you have a good handle on what's happening with social media and with technology, there's a new app, there's a new way of doing things. Do you guys experience that? Is it become just second nature for you, or
Yeah, it's easy now.
just easy now?
Yeah.
It's just
He's making his own websites. He's knocking it.
I had my own website. I just made 2 weeks ago.
What's the address? Let's get it out there.
www.frankdimattinarrealestate.com.
I love it.
Yeah, you can go on that. I made it in probably like a week. One of my buddies helped me, so I made the website and I linked it to all my social media platforms.
So you're using the hub and spoke approach.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes.
That makes me smile.
Yeah. No, it really is a great way for like people to, like for me to get my name out there, and people go on my website, look me up. You could put in your email address, phone number, name, and I'll get all that information, and I can just engage with people.
Connecting, baby.
Yes.
That's it. So for us, it's been a much slower burn, and to continue to adapt and evolve. That's why we're in the podcast studio right now, right? We're trying to continue to deploy the technology in a way that we can connect with our clients and connect with our customers in a more efficient way, in a way of scale, and to try and be a little bit different and to try and stay ahead of the curve.
Everything is like social media today.
Yeah.
Everything, people go on Zillow to find homes. They go on Facebook. They go on Instagram. All type of social media platforms. So, once you really master the social media game, and you learn how to run ads and all that, it just comes easy.
It's about clicks,
Yes.
right?
100%.
90, what is it, Pete? 90 what percent of home sales lead to start with a click? 91 or 92%. That's so crazy.
Right?
How far and how fast this game has changed.
Yeah, it's evolving.
Over 90% of all property sales begin with a click.
Yeah, especially first-time home buyers. I forget the exact percentage, but a lot of first-time home buyers, they find their first home online, and they may click your picture and your name, and they'll see all your reviews. After every purchase of a home, I always ask my clients to review me, and great reviews lead to potential clients using you and trusting you throughout the process.
Love it. So never before has there been a more relevant time where digital assets and social media is important, right, with coronavirus. And I'm like, we're all kind of tired talking about it, but I feel like we do have to touch on it. So for Ariana and Frank, you guys have never experienced a market shift like this because you're younger. But for me and Celia, 9/11, right, 2008, Superstorm Sandy,
13.
right? Now coronavirus. We've had our share of lumps as we've moved through our careers, but it's made us stronger, it's made us better, it's made us smarter and more efficient, right, in our approach and how we do things. So, what advice would you give to, let's start with home buyers now. What advice would you give to home buyers now as we're hopefully emerging from the coronavirus pandemic? Is it a good time to buy? What's happening out there?
I would say it's a good time to buy. Rates are low, so you take advantage of that. You have a low rate. Houses are going quick. The market's still pretty hot right now. I don't think it died down. I think it's still pretty steady. It's pretty hot. Houses are going quick. I was working with a client over the weekend. They sent me about 4 homes that all the 4 homes were in contract. So, the market's pretty hot right now. If you're looking to buy now, I would say take advantage of those rates. And houses are going quick, so schedule some tours.
So to your point, Frank, I'm looking at some recent Cyborg stats here. Mm-hmm. August of 2020 versus September of 2020, the average day on market was 127 days back in August, and it plummeted to from 127 to about 106 days in September, in just 1 month. Wow. That's a pretty significant drop. Ariana, what would you say to home sellers out there? A good time to sell?
I think it's a good time to sell, at least get your property on the market. They are still somewhat, getting their money, their price from what they're asking. They may get, a few thousand less, but I think that a lot of people, are buying right now, and it's a low rate. So if you have the down payment, stop renting and purchase your first home.
Start building equity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to your point, September 20 versus September 2019. In September 2019, the average list price was $705,593. September of 20, on the heels of a global pandemic, we went from $705,593 to $729,643.
Wow. Not much. Yeah.
So, year over year, in what is still proving to be a challenging world to navigate, just because we don't know, right? I think we all can't wait for this election to be over. Mm-hmm. As
a lot of people are scared, they're unsure, they're not,
yeah,
they're not positive on what to do.
So as the election comes and goes, as professionals, we'll adapt, right? We'll make sure that we are aware of whatever the new policies are and how they may or may not impact our clients, and we'll advise accordingly. So for us, it doesn't make a difference really who wins. It's just we want to know the rules so we can guide our clients accordingly, right?
In the right direction.
Absolutely. So interesting seal in the sold listings. So we talked about some average price and we talked on days, but in the sold listings, I thought this was interesting. So for this month, 2020 over 2019, we had in the $300,000 to $399,000 price range a 20.7% increase. In the $4 to $499,000, we had a 27.9% increase, and in the $500,000 plus, we had a 2.4% increase. So that 3 to 5 market is just absolutely on fire, right? And prices are appreciating. And even the 500 plus market, we're holding our own. Now, in the new listings, we have in the $400,000 to $500,000 price range an increase from 103 new listings in 2019 to 118 listings this month. And then in the $500,000 plus range, we had, this is a huge jump. We had 384 in 2019 for this month, and we had 492 in 2020, same month, year over year. So we're seeing this trend, and we had talked about this a few months ago. The stats were skewed because even though coronavirus happened, the clock didn't stop ticking. Like all those houses that we couldn't close and we couldn't show and we couldn't sell, like nobody pressed pause. They counted all those months that the houses were on the market.
Right. So that's why a lot of clients they'll say this house has been on the market 150 days, and I say, well, at a time we couldn't show.
Right.
So take that into consideration.
Yep.
There has been a lot of activity on the home. It's just we couldn't get into the homes for a while.
We were limited.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, having a professional and being able to take a look at the stats and analyze what's really happening there, it's not enough, folks, to just look at some top line numbers. You have to dive in. You have to understand what is the support, what's happening with the absorption rate, what's happening with the amount of product that's being listed, that number versus the unit count that's actually being sold in that specific price range, and taking into account, of course, things like when the clock, people don't realize, because you would think, of course they stopped the clock. Mm-hmm. Well, of course they didn't count when we weren't allowed to sell,
Right.
because some of the numbers overall year over year are down a massive amount. We're still down year over year 20.7% from 2019 to 2020 because we lost basically 25 to 30% of the time that the houses would have been on the market, right? So we have closed that gap, and we're headed in the right direction. But without the clock stopping to, the tick, it is what it is. So we're actually, I can't believe it, we're already pressing up here. We've been on for like 50 minutes already. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about, or any other advice you wanted to get out there before we wrap? It's a good time to buy, we think, here in Staten Island.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Right? Mm-hmm. Staten Island has proven, once again, folks, through all of these crises that we've dealt with, if you're looking to close your eyes and hit a grand slam, don't buy here. If you're looking for steady growth, rock solid through good markets and bad, a constant appreciation, Staten Island is the place to be. And we've proven it time and time again, and we're proving it again right now.
We say that.
Right?
Yeah.
Staten Island holds steady. The community holds steady. The people, we're all together. We're in everything together. Staten Island stays strong.
Small borough.
We are a small borough, but we do stand strong. We've always, through every crisis, we've stood strong, and we do stay strong. And now is the time to stick together, and we will get through it. And people are going to stay, and they're going to buy, and we're going to sell.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're just strong, and we are family-oriented.
Yep. We really are.
Absolutely.
We don't get enough credit for, you hear about, because of the context of Brooklyn and to be in the shadow of Brooklyn and Queens, the Bronx, and of course Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Not true with us.
You had just said we're a small borough. We're a small borough here, but as a city, the density and our demographics, I think we're 11 or 12 in the country if we were our own city. So we've got tremendous buying power, and we really do stick together here in Staten Island. We get a bad rap, but this is it's a really great place to live.
One thing I've learned, when things get tough, everybody sticks together here, and we do help each other
No doubt.
whenever there's a crisis.
Just like during the pandemic, like right when things were really closing down, you couldn't leave your house. At Ariana's, we did a food drive.
Yes, you did.
So we did a food drive for 4 days straight.
Yep.
People come up to the window, give them food. Same thing with Hurricane Sandy. We did a food drive.
For those in need.
Yeah, we
really-
donated. We were giving care packages. So
There was a tent out there every day. People came from 8 in the morning to 11 o'clock
yeah,
at
you
night.
were there.
I was there till
Yeah,
after
I know.
Thanksgiving
I
with you.
know.
That's where I met you.
We take care of our own.
Yeah, first
Definitely, yeah.
responders,
Uh-huh.
they all deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what gives us the cutting edge, and that's what makes us different over the outer boroughs.
I agree. We're a strong, tight-knit community.
Yep, Staten Island strong.
Amen.
That's right.
Anything else we want to add?
I will say before I came to you, everything I did was on paper and it was on faxing. Boy, did I get an education. That's all I'm going to say. And you know what? Even at this age, I got a great education because we used to fax everything. Waste of paper,
Waste of paper.
big waste.
We have to
all
evolve.
the technology, technology, email, everything was through email.
We do it together.
Yeah, Celia is
Absolutely.
learning a lot.
She
Yes,
is.
I am.
Especially from us, too. When
Yes,
we
I
help
am.
with emails, everything.
I love
Yes,
it.
I am.
She's
If you can't find anything, you just search it on your email and you pull it right up. Through paperwork, I would be lost with paperwork.
Like James says, it's a team.
Yeah.
It's more than a team. It's a family, and it's working together and being together. At the end of the day, that's what counts.
Helping one another out.
Absolutely.
Always being there for each other.
Well, thank you guys. I love you all. I
Thank you.
appreciate you guys
Appreciate it.
coming and spending
Thanks,
some time
James.
with me.
Thank you.
Everybody out there, keep the comments coming, keep the suggestions coming, and of course, stay safe.